You're on a motorcycle and somebody rear ends you. Someone rides into you. You did nothing wrong. As many of you know, when you're on a motorcycle, the injuries tend to be a lot more severe. The impact tends to be a lot harder. And the amount of injury that somebody sustains is a lot greater than if you're, in a 4,500 to 5,000 pound vehicle that shields a lot of the forces from an impact. So a couple of things that are different in a motor vehicle accident in the state of New York is that you don't have no fault. And that's good and it's bad. And I want to go into that because a lot of people are not aware of the significance or lack of significance of no fault coverage, right? So if you're injured on a motorcycle, your no fault doesn't cover you. Now, if you are riding your motorcycle and you injure somebody, then you actually you have limited no fault to assist or provide medical benefits for somebody who's not an occupant of that motorcycle, right? But we're not discussing that. We're discussing you, the occupant of the motorcycle, got injured. So there's no fault in that instance, meaning that all your medical bills have to be paid through another source. A lot of times that'll be through your major medical health insurance, through Medicare, through Medicaid, through liens. That is to say that the medical provider, the hospital, they will treat you and they will have an interest in the proceeds of what you recover from any personal injury action that you have against the tortfeasor, the person or persons that injured you. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Whereas in a motor vehicle accident in the state of New York, the no fault will cover the hospital, cover physical therapy, the chiropractic, any surgeries, generally all paid by no fault. If no fault doesn't pay it, essentially a medical provider will take an assignment, and as long as you, the injured person, don't violate any conditions of coverage, that is, as long as you go to your examinations, you timely report the accident, you, the injured person, in a car accident scenario, would never be liable personally for your medical bills. That's not the case in a motorcycle. In a motorcycle accident, you are liable for your medical bills. So every time you go to the physical therapist, the chiropractor, right, all those co-pays, they're on you. If you don't have insurance, you're paying the whole thing, or a lien is being taken. Now, here's, that's the bad. The bad side is all those medical expenses you're liable for, or you got to find a way to pay it, right? But here's the not so bad. In New York, there is a thing we've discussed in prior videos called the serious injury threshold. One of the trade-offs of having no fault is that in order to bring a lawsuit, you need to show that you sustained a permanent injury, a significant limitation of a body part or organ, that you missed 90 days essentially from work or the first 6 months, right? And you have to prove that in order to obtain non-economic recovery. And even economic recovery, the first $50,000 would be offset by no fault. But in a motor vehicle, in a motorcycle incident, it's what we call dollar for dollar loss. If you suffered a bruise, a sprain, injuries that generally in the field of motor vehicle litigation we don't consider serious, permanent, that no fault threshold, that serious injury threshold, does not apply to you. So in many ways, the value of your injury is a lot greater than that of someone who was injured in a motor vehicle, or a pedestrian who was run over by a motor vehicle. In fact, I can give you an example. I had a case years ago where My client was hit by another vehicle. He ended up on the ground. Had a really bad case of what you call road rash, right? But he had no permanent injuries. Had a couple of medical bills, right? The case settled for, I'm not going to give the number, but a not so insignificant sum, because as I told the nice adjuster, there is no threshold. I said my client gets dollar for dollar injury, dollar for dollar damages. He already lost on summary judgment on liability. I also moved for lack of threshold. So I told the adjuster, I said, you're on the hook for everything. And the adjuster ponied up, again, a nice sum of money on a decent policy. So that is where the world of motorcycle accidents differ from car accidents. And the other thing is that, like I started our video here with, is that motorcycle accidents, unfortunately, just tend to usually be more severe than car accidents, right? General car accident, the victim is generally going to have, they're going to have a neck that hurts, back that hurts, they might have some pain in their shoulder or their knee. Motorcycle accident, there's going to be blood, there's going to be bruising, there's going to be, visible injury. And as many of you can imagine, when trying to objectify or articulate the whole nature of your loss, of the injury you sustained, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So in that regard, in other regards, motorcycle accidents, again, tend to be a lot more severe and are a different phenomenon than that of a motor vehicle accident. So if you're involved in a motorcycle accident, feel free to contact us. Like I said, we've handled quite a few of these, and we're well aware of the differences and the challenges, that these particular types of accidents pose. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you.